Okay, I am back with part 2 of my Arya theory. I had to add this part in. I was listening to Rob Sesternino and Stephen Fishback's podcast today. I love Rob Sesternino. I hope to God you watch this video. Rob, I'm going to make you eat your words. You're going to be like, oh my God, I was wrong. This chick is right. I was completely wrong. Video number 1 was the setup, but now it's time to put all the pieces together and explain why that was not Arya and how Syrio and Jaqen being the same person all fits together for Arya's future. Now, obviously, I don't have proof. Some of the details might end up being a little different, but here is my version of what I think went down. I'll start at the very beginning. So I do think Syrio Forel was a real man. I really think he was the first Sword of Bravos and all that good stuff. But after moving to King's Landing, at some point, he died. Like the producers have said, he's dead. Now, although I have some ideas that have to do with his backstory in Bravos, I'll just keep it really simple. Maybe he went back to Bravos at some point and died, or maybe he was on Jaqen's kill list and Jaqen killed him. Either way, it doesn't really matter how or why Syrio died, but at some point he died and Jaqen has his face. I'd like to believe that Syrio went to King's Landing with a whole list of people to kill, or at least more than one person. It just doesn't seem economic to travel all the way to King's Landing just to kill one person. Anyway, one of the people on his list gets locked up in the black cells before he has a chance to kill him, so he has to figure out how to get in there. Remember, the black cell isn't like normal jail. It's like the maximum security prison of King's Landing. And I don't think I mentioned this in my first video, but it's also called the black cells because it's kept completely dark. Well, luckily for Jaqen, Ned Stark needed a sword-fighting teacher for his daughter, and he just happens to have the face of Syrio Forel, and he can pretend to be him and gain access to the grounds of King Landing, and then figure out a plan on how to get into the black cells. Remember, Jaqen is a very patient man. As he explained to Arya, sometimes it could take months to pull off an assassination.
The Red God demands it. Give the man a name.
How long after I give you the name does it take you to kill someone?
A minute, an hour, a month. Death is certain. The time is not.
He's taking his army to attack my brother. I need him dead right now.
This a man cannot do.
Okay, so let's go back to that last scene where Syrio is fighting the Lannister guards. Well, after Syrio/Jaqen squares up with Merry and Trant and Arya runs off, the scene ends. But what I think happens is he switched faces and it freaked Merry and Trant out and it gave him time to get away. Trant never talks about this because he doesn't even understand what he saw, and the guards never talk about it because they all got their ass beat by this little foreign dude with a wooden sword. Plus, they let Arya get away. There is no way they told anybody the truth about what really happened that day. Also, remember the day that Ned got beheaded? Well, there was a lot of chaos in King's Landing that day. Everybody gathered to see what was going on. If you go back and you watch the scene, you're going to see that there are guards all over the crowd, all over the place. And just a note that, remember, the place that they pulled Ned Stark from was the Black Cells. Well, due to the chaos of the day, Jaqen finally has his chance to sneak into the Black Cells, which also happened to be where Ned Stark was being held right before he was executed, and finally gets to kill this guy on his list. Remember, it was a chaotic day. Anyway, unfortunately, it's not as easy to get out of the Black Cells as it was to get in. Now, being such a skilled killer and assassin, you would think he'd probably be able to kill his way out of there pretty easily, but he can't. Due to rule number 3, he's not allowed to choose who he kills on his own, so he's kind of stuck. And then just hours later, he's thrown in a cage with these two assholes, and with Arya and Yarn and Gendry and Hot Pie and a bunch of other folks headed towards the north, towards the wall. I personally think he could have escaped Harrenhal after they got captured there too, but he stuck around because he had to kill 3 people since Arya saved him, and he let her pick the names. So anyway, he has his time with Arya at Harrenhal, where he kills some people and he helps her escape, and he's impressed with her. He likes her. He offers to let her come to Bravos to teach her how to be a faceless man, but she turns it down because she wants to find her family. So Jaqen leaves the offer open. He gives her a coin. He tells her, yo, you're cool. If you change your mind, get at me, bro. And they part ways. So fast forward to season 5, where Arya is eventually accepted as an apprentice in the House of Black and White. She does some sweeping, she plays the lion game, she learns how to clean bodies, and then finally she gets to see the Hall of Faces. Now pay attention to what's happened, to what's said in this scene.
Is the girl ready to give up her ears, her nose, her tongue? Her hopes and dreams, her loves and hates, all that makes a girl who she is. Forever. No. A girl is not ready to become no one. But she's ready to become someone else.
You're not ready to become no one, but you're ready to become someone else. She is not officially a faceless man. Although she's not officially a faceless man, she is being tested. She's given her first mission to go kill the Thin Man, but she doesn't do it because she sees Meryn Trant, the guy that she thinks killed Syria. Instead of completing her mission, she steals a face from the Hall of Faces and goes to kill Meryn Trant, which is probably one of the top 3 most gruesome deaths on the whole show, if you ask me. Now, yes, this kill is for the wrong reasons, but number 1, she wasn't actually a faceless man, and this was just a test to see if she was ready. And number 2, even though it was not the right person, someone still died, so she broke even with death. However, she did get punished for stealing the face. This is when we see a little bit of magic going on with Jaqen when he switches the bunch of faces before blinding Arya. Take a look.
That man's life was not yours to take. A girl stole from the many-faced god. Now a debt is owed. Only death can pay for life.
No, you don't die! Don't die!
Why are you crying?
He was my friend.
No, he wasn't. Didn't you listen to him?
He was no one.
But if you're... Who's this?
No one at all. Just as a girl should have been before she took a face from the hall. Faces are for no one. You are still someone. And to someone, the faces are as good as poison.
So season 6 starts, and now Arya is living on the streets as a blind beggar. After a few ass whippings from the waif, Jaqen takes Arya back, and eventually he gives her eyesight back. But there's kind of a difference from the training that she received in season 5 and season 6. Yes, she gets her ass kicked a lot more, but also a lot of her training is done by the waif and not Jaqen. Now, if you go back and watch her scenes in season 6, Jaqen just kind of creepily appears in the background watching them here and there. I don't think he's only observing Arya. I actually think he's observing the waif too. In each scene, you can see on her face more and more just how much she freaking hates Arya. In the last scene, where they fight and Arya actually starts to match up with her a little bit, she walks away and she says this.
You'll never be one of us, Lady Stark.
She has a point.
Jaqen says she has a point. I think this is a moment that Jaqen really knows that Arya isn't ready and probably will never be ready to be a faceless man. But he also knows that the waif is really feeling some kind of way about Arya. And he can see it. He's been seeing it. So right after this happens, he takes Arya to the Hall of Faces and he gives her another mission to kill Lady Crane, that actress. But we need to be very, very clear about one thing. Arya is still not a faceless man. Check out this scene and pay very close attention to what is said.
When they were not wearing others. The first faceless man. And now a girl is one of them. If a girl desires.
A girl has no desires.
Catch it? So Jaqen says, a girl can become one of us if she desires. And Arya replies, a girl has no desires. Jaqen nods his head in acknowledgement and then gives Arya the poison. We know with this show, the words that are said and how they are said are very important. Arya has not agreed to be a faceless man. This second chance that she's being given is a second chance to prove herself worthy and to show that she's capable of doing what's needed to be done as a faceless man, but she is not acting as an official faceless man. At the end of that, Jaqen also says a face must be added to the wall. In the end, Arya does not complete the mission, but along the way somewhere, what we don't see, we know that the Waif had to have had a conversation with Jaqen about letting her kill Arya if she didn't complete the task. Check it out.
As I expected.
A shame. The girl had many gifts.
You promised me.
Don't let her suffer.
You would imagine the part that we didn't see went something like this. The Waif says, can I be the one to kill her if she fails? Do you promise? And Jaqen probably just nodded and walked away because he doesn't always talk that much. So anyway, this violates rules number 2 and 3 of being a faceless man. Rule number 2, killing for personal gain or out of anger or hate are forbidden. Obviously, she hates Arya, and this is 100% personal. The way the conversation went, she had to have asked if she could kill Arya. Rule number 3, faceless men may not choose who is worthy of the gift of death for themselves. Now, this is where that side note that I talked about in the first video comes in. We don't know what happens to a faceless man when they violate the rules. But if I was a betting girl, I'd say it's something pretty bad. Something like maybe death, just a guess. So I'm sure that the Waif can't be punished for just saying something or wanting to do something. She'd probably actually have to go through with it to be punished for it. So Jaqen sets up a test for the Waif because we know he likes to test people. He poses as Arya, and as we've seen him use magic to do before, so that's not out of the realm of possibility that he's using magic to pretend to be Arya. And also the big hint of this and him, or that's not Arya, is how nonchalant she's acting for someone who has assassins after her. Plus, she just got her sword back, and now she's walking around all willy-nilly without it. I'm sorry, that's not Arya. She's not that dumb. If that was Arya, she'd at least have her sword with her. She's not that freaking stupid. So anyway, the Waif took the bait and stabbed the shit out of Arya. Let's watch it again.
Sweet girl.
So, looking at it again, I am sure that we can all agree that these are death blows. This bitch turned the knife in her, like she wrenched it. She was like, you're gonna die. But we see Arya still walking around just bleeding all over the place. Had this really been Arya, she'd be dead. But it's Jaqen. He's drank poison before and he lived, so there's probably some kind of magic at play here. Also, there's another scene, and I'm thinking about it as I'm making this, so I don't have time to go look it up, but you can go look it up if you want. Remember the scene before Arya gets accepted into the House of Black and White when Jaqen Haggard is pretending to be the old black guy. And there's these guys that are trying to rob Arya, and then the old black guy walks out, and then the guys just look at him and they like run away scared.
Nothing's worth anything to dead men.
Quickly, go, go!
Scared. I think that might have something to do with like why the people were just staring at Arya, this bleeding girl walking down the street, and nobody even really kind of flinches. They just kind of look at her. I swear, I think some magic is at play there. I'm willing to put money on it, actually. Anyway, back to what I was getting at. So, from the upcoming scenes for the next episode, we know that there's some kind of epic chase that's going to happen with Arya, aka Jaqen. This is how I think that the next episode is going to go down. The waif is going to die. Since I don't know the rules of what happens to a faceless man who breaks the rules, I don't know if it's going to be by Jaqen's own hands or if it's going to be some kind of setup where he has her chasing and then he moves and then she falls off of a building and dies, or maybe he forces her to drink from the poison-filled fountain. Either way, that bitch is going down. This takes care of the debt that's owed to death by Arya not killing Lady Crane. So what's going to happen is Jaqen's going to go where Arya is in her little dark room, possibly looking like the waif, and should think that he's there to kill her. Then there might even be a fight scene, who knows, and just as Arya thinks she's about to die, she'll hear Syrill's voice say, "What do we say to death?" And she'll be all confused, and she'll look up, and she'll see Syrill's face. Then Syrill's going to take the face off, and it's going to be Jaqen, and he's going to say, "Not today." And she'll be like, "Oh my god, it was you, I thought you died." And Jaqen will then probably have to do some explaining about why the waif had to die, and how Arya can truly never become no one because she has family out there that she still loves, and she can't let go of who she really is. And then he'll tell her, "Hey, there's a boat waiting to take you back to Westeros at sunrise." And we'll see Arya sailing away from Braavos, and end scene. I think the reason that they left Syrill's death ambiguous on the show is revealing that Syrio is actually Jaqen will help tie up that loose end from season 1, because Syrio is kind of like he's like a beloved character. Like, you remember who he is, and then he's just there, and then he just dies, and you sit and you wonder, like, what happened to Syrio? We didn't see him die. Did he really die? I think this is a really easy way to like tie that loose end up and still make it really cool. Plus, it gives them a reason to pull out the "what do we say to death" line one more time. So the way forward for Arya, who knows? But Arya will have learned these skills from badass assassins, and she's going to be free to go back to Westeros without worrying about being chased by the faceless men for the rest of her life. I've heard people say that before, and I just think that would totally suck for her to always have to be looking over her back for this. So I think the way that this goes down, the way I think it's going to go down, this leaves her free and clear, and she doesn't have to worry about the faceless men anymore. Before the end of this, I am not going to lie. I'm going to be totally honest. Keep it real with y'all. I love trying to poke holes in different theories that I read or that I hear, just because it makes me dig into things deeper. So I totally expect it to happen to me. So come at me, bro. Bring it on. Find whatever you can wrong with my theory. I don't mind it. I welcome it. But please be nice to me. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'd be nice to you. Be nice to me. Other than that, thanks for taking the time to listen to me ramble. Still learning how to edit videos, so this definitely is not a professional production. This is just me sitting in my, actually you don't even know what I'm wearing down here, but I'm in my dining room right now in my house with a hoodie on for some stupid reason. Anyway, thanks for taking the time to listen to me ramble, and leave me some comments. Thank you.